wide receiver top 5.
So I got Tyreek Hill, Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase, and Stephon Diggs.
Yep, I got Jefferson, Adams, Hill, Diggs, and Chase. So similar,
Yeah.
same. I guess same guys, a little bit different order. Waiting to see what's going on with Tua and that
Mm-hmm.
ankle injury, and Waddle as well. But who you high on?
So once again, I am high on Michael Gallup. He opens the week as my wide receiver 27. Obviously got bailed out a bit by the 2 touchdowns last week. He only caught 4 balls for 23 yards, but this is a matchup against the Texans where, the touchdown odds for everyone, Gallup included, go up. So, could probably bank on another touchdown again here, but that, again, this is the second straight game where he had a 25% or better target per route run rate. So, he's 100% right now. And Noah Brown, once again, he only saw 2 targets despite running around on 90% of Dak's dropbacks. So just having him out there running wind sprints, helps elevate both Gallup and Lamb and even Schultz. So, yeah, once again, I have Michael Gallup as, high-end wide receiver 3 here with increased touchdown odds against the Texans. And the other guy I like, it's a little bit lower on the radar, is Laviska Shenault. I have him as my wide receiver 43, and the consensus is wide receiver 98. So that's a huge gap of about 55 compared to ECR. But, heading into the bye week in week 12, Shi Smith was benched. So Shenault actually saw a season-high 75% routes run rate. He had a quiet 2 catch for 19-yard afternoon, but that kind of usage, he could easily post 4 to 5, even 6 receptions. On the season, he's been targeted on 36% of his routes run this season. Obviously, that is an unsustainable Devontae Adams type of rate there, but in deeper PPR formats, 6 teams on a bye this week, you could certainly do worse than Shenault. So I think it's safe to say he's a top 3 option in that offense now. So against the Seahawks, like him as a wide receiver 4 option again in PPR formats.
Yeah, I have him inside the top 50 as well. Noticed that he kind of took over that entire role for Shi Smith, so that probably continues coming out of the bye.
Yep.
I am high on Garrett Wilson again. He's my wide receiver 14. He's ECR wide receiver 19, and I just think this guy he's in one of those rookie breakouts, kind of like what we saw from Amon-Ra St. Brown,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that he has a decent quarterback now that will get him the ball, I think is massive because Garrett with Zach Wilson, I think he had one big game. But it didn't even include touchdowns or anything like that. But this one, he's just seeing a ton of targets, ton of catches. Put up another massive game last week. Over 150 receiving yards. So I'm not really concerned about the matchup. They move him around, and he's just getting open. So and his route participation, it stays around 90%. Out of the bye, 100%, 90%, 90% the last 3 games. So. He's running routes. He's doing everything we need him to do, and I think he's still kind of improving. So, yeah, love Garrett Wilson this week.
Didn't he also just miss like an 80-yard touchdown?
Yeah, it could have been even more.
He could have had just like a 250-yard. Yeah, so we have yet to even see his true ceiling. But yeah, that's a good call. It does kind of remind me of Amon-Ra's breakout at the end of last season.
All right, who you low on?
So I am a low on Brandon Ayuk. I have him as my wide receiver 36 to open the week. His ECR is wide receiver 22, but I think he probably gets the biggest downgrade with Jimmy G out and Brock Purdy under center. Brock Purdy had the lowest depth of target, or lowest intended air yards, I should say, of all quarterbacks last week. So that could mean, guys like Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel end up being his top 2 targets, and maybe they see an increase with Purdy under center, but with Ayuk being the main downfield threat, he just seems like a low end, sort of a risky wide receiver 3 this week until we can see him, have some chemistry with Purdy. So plus, the 49ers are, I think they're 4-point home favorites now against Buccaneers. Probably going to be a run heavy game script. I can't imagine they want Purdy throwing the ball around unless they get behind. So Ayuk is a guy that I'm just having a huge downgrade with the Jimmy G news. And the other guy I'm low on is George Pickens. at wide receiver 39. His ECR is wide receiver 29. It seems like every week I have to respond to people on Twitter why I have Pickens so low. And let me tell you, it has nothing to do with his talent. It's just that he's a wide receiver 3 with a wide range of outcomes. He's more of a downfield threat. The Steelers don't really throw many touchdowns. And lately they have been a extremely run heavy team. Over this 4-game win streak, they're averaging 35 rush attempts per game. So we finally saw a true floor game from Pickens last week, only caught 1 pass for 2 yards. So, they're favorites again this week against the Ravens. They might not have to throw as much, and it's a tougher matchup for Pickens. So he's a wide receiver 3 with a wide range of outcomes. And fortunately, he does have a pretty low floor. So that's why I'm a little bit lower than ECR again this week, even though I do like the talent.
Yeah, no, it kind of reminds me of Olave. It's like it's just like there's not many touchdowns to go around, and it's not like he's getting like 8-9 catches every game or something like that. Like he's kind of struggling. I mean, he is the squeaky wheel this week, so that is interesting.
Yeah.
Because I know Deontay Johnson, when he was a squeaky wheel, he started getting some more targets. So we'll see what happens with that. But yeah, based on his production, he doesn't deserve to be a top 30 wide receiver. I am low on Darius Slayton this week. He's the ECR wide receiver 33. He's my wide receiver 38, and that's basically because he has to deal with Darius Slay, James Bradbury. That's a tough tough boundary corners to deal with. It's a division game, could be lower scoring, and it's just the kind of game where I think the Giants are gonna have to rely more on their inside guys. Slayton's been getting some big plays kind of downfield in a lot of these games, but I just think that's gonna be hard to come by in a matchup like this. So, I know he's been kind of playing that role of the number 1 receiver as he's needed to be, but this just seems like a matchup where they can kind of take him out and force the Giants to beat him with other guys.
Yeah, I'm with ECR there at wide receiver 30, but I haven't really factored in the matchup. So yeah, he'll probably square off against Slay and Bradbury 10, but just his underlying usage and metrics lately have been solid. So that's why I'm a little bit higher than you, but I'll probably end up meeting you in the middle by the end of the week.
All right, let's for our prop, let's go with Juju Smith-Schuster, because he did see his bump up back in routes, but he still kind of had a bad game. Like he wasn't really doing much in the game, so having a hard time kind of setting his yardage. So let's go with 52.5 for Juju.
Yeah, that's right about where I had it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to go slightly under. I probably have his median closer to 47.5, and this should be a game where they're able to lean on the run, maybe not have to throw as much against the Broncos, just because the Denver offense probably won't push the Chiefs offense. So yeah, I do think that's a good line, but I'm slightly lower.
Yeah, he's been pretty inconsistent this year. It's been tough to project.